Hello everyone, welcome to the Crystaly Recapped channel. The movie begins with an emerald tropical island stretched out in the middle of the endless ocean. However, instead of savages, terrifying on the outside but kind on the inside, a soulless girl lies on a sandy beach near the water. The narration shifts to the blogger Madison. The girl talks in all seriousness about the sacredness of traveling the world. By this she means exclusively 5-star resorts in Thailand. She takes photos and posts videos, looking enviously at the posts of her colleagues in the influencer craft. To prove her professionalism, Madison takes a promotional photo with a cream against the backdrop of hotel landscapes. In the evening, a moderately well-fed British man in his prime, but who doesn't take hints, sits down at the bar. Madison is rescued from the annoying company of the crown subject by her hotel neighbor, Sai, who suggests they take a walk. Walking across the narrow bridge, Madison confesses to her new friend that she was supposed to fly to the island with her boyfriend, but he canceled the flight at the last minute. She also tells a terrible secret of an influencer. In fact, she is not absorbing the mysterious Asian culture, but is relaxing by the pool, rubbing it into her followers. Then Sai offers her a real adventure, and at dawn he takes her for a moped ride along a very scenic road. Before sunrise, the girls reach the top of the mountain. Madison immediately posts a message about how unhappy everyone is if they don't live by her principle. The day continues with further exploration of less touristy Thailand, zoos, ordinary streets, simple eateries. At the end of a sluggish evening, the girls meet tourists to get some rest. Returning to the hotel, full of new experiences, Madison sees that the door to her room is open. She cautiously sneaks inside, pretending not to hear the disturbing music. Inside, she notices that all her belongings have been turned over, and her documents have been stolen. Sai helps her new friend call the police and fill out the paperwork. Getting a new passport from the embassy takes a certain amount of time, namely 2 weeks. Her new friend suggests that they spend this time together. Immersed in an exotic culture, Madison calls her boyfriend to tell him the bad news. He accuses the girl of sabotaging the planned filming. The argument escalates into a breakup and a rethinking of values. While traveling along tourist routes, Madison does not forget to keep her subscribers up to date. The girls explore caves, scare bats, smoke on the pier of a fishing village, and don't forget to take pictures. Riding a motorcycle, Sai brings Madison to her own house. But this is not the only surprise she has in store for her friend. Waking up very early, Sai takes Madison to the pier where her own boat is moored. On it, the girls find themselves on a remote tropical island, uninhabited, as befits a decent island. On the island, Madison notices the markings on the log, but does not pay much attention to them. In the evening, the girls light a fire and tell scary stories. Madison says that if she were a character in a horror movie, Sai would probably kill her on this deserted island. In response, Sai tells an even scarier story. She would have simply left her friend alone to die of hunger, dehydration, and hallucinations. Madison denies that as a popular blogger, she was immediately sought out by followers. In response, she countered that her followers would not care if she disappeared because anyone could follow her blog. Taking it all for a meaningless intellectual game, Madison falls asleep peacefully. At dawn, Sai, taking her trinkets, sails off the island, leaving his companion lying on the sand. The story moves forward 3 weeks. C, having hijacked Madison's accounts, continues to blog using a wig and the magic of Photoshop. After fulfilling her contractual obligations with sponsors and raising enough money, she takes a break from social media. A photo of Madison on the beach adorns the wall where the other 4 contestants' photos already hang. With a sense of accomplishment, C wanders the Thai streets and establishments, vigilantly tracking down a new victim. She notices another connoisseur of Asian exoticism and inspirational travel named Jessica. The hunting excitement of adrenaline goes to her head, and now Sai is already hanging on her future friend's tail. Having driven the prey into a souvenir shop, Sai goes on the offensive, and a casual conversation is started, but unsuccessfully. Jessica does not fall for C's charms, Retreating, she continues to study the profile of her chosen victim to pick up clues. Having tracked down Jessica in a bar, Sai pretends to be her follower, pretending to be vain. The plan succeeds. Jessica makes contact. Sai tells her the legend of Madison, and meanwhile says that she has booked a huge villa on the island, which is too uncomfortable to live in alone. During a photo shoot, C steals a key card from her new friend to get into the room after they break up. After the identity theft stunt, she waits for a call from her damsel in distress to invite her to stay with her. But upon arriving at the villa, the girls are in for a surprise. The carpet of rose petals was laid out by Ryan, Madison's boyfriend, who actually pays the rent. Due to the new circumstances, Sai has to make adjustments to the carefully designed scheme. Using a voice synthesizer, she simulates a call from Madison, who defends Sai and tries to drive Ryan away, but he insists on meeting her in person. The three of them go to the coast, take pictures of Jessica, and Ryan asks her about Sai and tells her how Madison was robbed. Jessica, in turn, wants to ask him about his relationship with her friend, and in the evening, she texts Madison to arrange a meeting, not realizing that Sai has hijacked her account and has access to her correspondence. Jessica runs out of the bar to gather her things and get away from her suspicious neighbor. C runs after her, letting the taxi driver go. During the conversation, all sorts of coincidences appear that lead to very disturbing thoughts. When logical arguments are exhausted and fail, C resorts to the last resort, good old-fashioned violence. She packs the body in a suitcase and washes the blood away, barely in time for Ryan's return. He has brought a crowd of guests with him to hang out by the pool, which of course doesn't sit well with the girl who lives here. She asks the guy to escort them out, but is rudely and cynically refused. Upset, Sai picks up a kitchen knife and slowly walks up the stairs. Her attention is distracted by the sound of her smartphone. Ryan has tagged her in the photo. It's a fiasco, she thinks, realizing that her incognito has been blown. The plan needs to be adjusted immediately. In the morning, she prepares breakfast, imitating Jessica's departure with a plate of leftovers. Ryan logs on to social media and sees a fresh post from Madison that she has met a new love for life. The guy is upset, not realizing that this is an insidious plot by Sai and Photoshop. He spends the day with his girlfriend, who carefully slips pills into his drinks, discussing matters of the heart and blogging. At night, C drags Ryan home to get him into bed, but most importantly, she needs access to his phone and account to delete a post mentioning herself. In the morning, they wake up in the same bed, and the guy, convinced that he's naked, notices a retired security agent on the floor. Ryan gets up to leave. After making sure he's gone, she burns Madison's belongings and the wig she wore to impersonate her, thus covering her tracks, and finally burns the girl's passport, which the cunning killer hasn't gotten rid of yet. The story unexpectedly goes back in time to the moment when Ryan and Madison met. After their first date, the guy takes a photo and convinces the girl to try to become an influencer. While immersed in memories, Ryan visits the hotel in Thailand where Madison sent her last message. He asks if his girlfriend was staying there. Receiving a negative answer, the upset guy goes to the bar, where he meets an Englishman who barely remembers the episode with the theft in the room, as well as two girls who left the next day and did not return, specifying that one of them had a birthmark. Ryan continues to collect material. He shows a photo from yesterday from the hotel, but judging by the weather, it was clearly taken much earlier. Ryan then calls his friend Madison to find out when he last spoke to her via video, and finds out that she last spoke only by voice, just like he did on the phone. Suspicious of everything, the guy watches his girlfriend's story, and as he goes through it frame by frame, he finds an editing defect under the superimposed image. For a second, Sai's birthmark appears. Concerned, he returns to the villa, carefully examines the room, and finds the backpack containing Madison's diary, which Sai was somehow too embarrassed to burn. When she comes down the stairs, Ryan delivers a preemptive blow to the head. After tying her up, the guy douses her with water to bring her to her senses. Ryan is curious about Madison's whereabouts and shows the diary as evidence, but Sai is also unwilling to give up. She rightly believes that there is no direct evidence against her, unlike Ryan, who beat and tied up the woman. When Ryan threatens her with a knife, she honestly says that Madison hasn't done anything and offers to take her to her place. At night, they go to the pier, where Sai pushes the guy into the water. Diving after him, she frees his hands from behind his back and strangles him with ropes. When he stops resisting, the girl swims to the surface. She loads the body into the boat and returns to the house to wash off the blood, then writes a farewell post from Ryan's account and enjoys the messages in response. In the morning, she goes to the boat to take the body to the island, but an unpleasant surprise awaits her on the beach. A still warm fire and containers for collecting rainwater. The number of marks on the deck has increased with the number of days that have passed. C grabs a shovel from the boat and, like a soldier, heads into the tropical jungle. She cautiously walks around the island in search of survivors, but finds only 2 graves on top of a hill. As she examines the crosses, Sai doesn't notice Madison sneaking up behind her and knocking her down with a well-aimed kick. Not wanting to repeat the mistakes of horror movie characters, the blogger approaches her downed opponent and delivers a control punch. After that, exhausted, Madison goes down to the beach to the boat, where her boyfriend's body lies. Waking up to the sound of a running motor, Sai runs to the beach and sees the boat sail away, leaving her on the island just as she left her gullible victims. Recognizing the irony of the situation, she laughs nervously as Madison steers the boat out to sea toward the islands on the horizon. This is where the movie ends. That's all for today. Subscribe and like if you want more videos like this.